Angie Dickinson, who was once loved by the 35th President of the United States, gave men a heart attack with a revelation about her true love. As the woman known as the most attractive woman in Hollywood, her life and complicated relationships attract the public's attention more than anything. If you are also a fan of Angie Dickinson, please don't miss this video because we will reveal the identity of the man who captured her heart. Let's get started. One of the most significant aspects of Angie Dickinson's life is her association with the Rat Pack, a group of legendary entertainers, including Frank Sinatra. She gained recognition as the Rat Pack's gal pal and had a 10-year affair with Frank Sinatra. Their relationship was both passionate and tumultuous, adding to her allure and mystique. Angie even played Sinatra's wife in the original Ocean's 11, which was a milestone in her career. Her charm and charisma extended beyond Hollywood, catching the attention of the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. Angie Dickinson's beauty and charisma made her a notable figure during this time, and she was linked romantically with JFK, further cementing her status as a Hollywood legend. In addition to her high-profile romances, Angie Dickinson's personal life was marked by her marriage to the renowned composer Burt Bacharach. Their union was not without its share of challenges, including the tragic struggle of their daughter, who was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. This aspect of her life reflects the ups and downs that many families face when dealing with such a condition. Angie Dickinson's career in the entertainment industry was marked by memorable moments, one of the most iconic being her role in the groundbreaking cop show, Policewoman. Her portrayal of Sergeant Pepper Anderson in this series made her a trailblazer, as it was one of the first TV shows to feature a female police officer as the lead character. This role earned her critical acclaim and established her as a symbol of female empowerment in the world of television. Another standout moment in Angie Dickinson's career was her classic reverse striptease in the film Dressed to Kill. 14 years ago, Angie Dickinson made a bold and unprecedented move by walking off the set of the television program This Is Your Life. The show's host, Ralph Edwards, along with a gathering of Dickinson's family, celebrity friends, and hometown acquaintances, were left stranded and bewildered. Edwards had lured her to the show under the pretense of a discussion with director Brian De Palma, who had worked with her on the 1980 thriller Dressed to Kill. However, to Angie's surprise, they had assembled a group of people from her life, including her sister Janet, her daughter Nikki, and even an old high school boyfriend. Notably, even luminaries like Bob Hope, who had left a dinner with President Ford and Colin Powell to be there, had to return home. This incident was unprecedented in the history of the show. When asked why she chose to refuse the honor and attention of the assembled crowd, Angie Dickinson explained that she felt it was more fitting for the event to be organized in reverse, so she could express her appreciation for the people who had played important roles in her life. This refusal to conform to the expected norms of celebrity acclaim is just one of the many qualities that endeared Angie Dickinson to people like Los Angeles novelist and screenwriter Bruce Wagner. He expressed his admiration for her by praising her audacity and her resistance to the culture's expectations. Dickinson's decision to shun the show was considered remarkable, as many expected her to find it entertaining. Wagner likened her to British actress Jacqueline Bisset, noting their ease in carrying themselves with a devil-may-care, sexually charged quality. They exuded an air of having seen and done it all while maintaining an elegant indifference to societal expectations. However, Angie Dickinson's unwillingness to reveal her personal life extended beyond this instance. In 1989, she declined a substantial advance from a major publisher for her autobiography, leaving people curious about what she was hesitant to disclose. Over the years, rumors had circulated regarding her alleged affair with President Kennedy during his inaugural celebration, her on-again, off-again 10-year love affair with Frank Sinatra, and the dissolution of her marriage to songwriter Burt Bacharach. These rumors added to the intrigue surrounding her, raising questions about whether there were more hidden secrets. Angie Dickinson acknowledged her status as a leading lady in Hollywood, but acknowledged that she was rarely cast as the lead. Angie Dickinson, a seasoned actress with a filmography of over 89 films and television movies, along with well over 100 TV appearances, continues to receive scripts that request her to perform nude scenes even in her later years. She humorously remarks, "Don't they know I'm an old lady?" Despite being 76 years old, Angie still attracts admiring glances, although she apologizes for not possessing the same youthful appearance she once did. Nevertheless, she still exudes the quintessential charm that made her an enduring figure in Hollywood. Champagne-colored hair, warm and flirty eyes, a sensual mouth, and a peach Melba voice, all combining to embody the archetype of the glamorous, intelligent blonde. One of Angie Dickinson's notable roles was as Sheila Farr in Don Siegel's 1964 film noir classic, The Killers. In this role, she played a femme fatale of unparalleled allure, seducing a race car driver portrayed by John Cassavetes and ultimately leading him to his tragic demise. Her portrayal of Sheila is so seductive and sympathetic that when her true treacherous nature is revealed, it leaves the audience gasping. One of the film's most harrowing moments is when Lee Marvin, playing a ruthless hitman, dangles her by her ankles from a hotel window. Additionally, she endured a hard slap from Ronald Reagan in his last film role, which also happened to be his only one as a villain. He later apologized to her for his discomfort in playing the antagonist, revealing his admiration for her. Angie Dickinson has left a lasting impression on film history, even earning praise from film historian David Thompson, who considers her his favorite actress. He describes her as someone you thought of as a friend, consistently effective, and a reliable talent. However, he acknowledges that there was a period when it seemed like she could have achieved even greater success in her career. While she never received an Academy Award or reached the superstar status of icons like Marilyn Monroe or Elizabeth Taylor, Angie Dickinson remains a secret crush for generations of male moviegoers, and the mere mention of her name lights up the eyes of those who appreciate her work. Angie's timeless appeal isn't limited to old Hollywood, as contemporary and hip directors also admire her. Directors like Gus Van Sant cast her in Only Cowgirls Get the Blues. Steven Soderbergh ensured she had a cameo in his remake of Ocean's 11, and Brian De Palma selected her for the role of the sensual, adulterous wife in Dressed to Kill, because he knew she could immediately establish a sympathetic bond with the audience, as she was already a beloved figure in the industry. The character of Feathers, often referred to as the girl, in Howard Hawks's 1959 Western film Rio Bravo, marked a significant turning point in Angie Dickinson's career. She portrayed a flirtatious saloon girl who enjoys pleasing men, particularly John Wayne's character, Sheriff John T. for Trouble Chance. What made her portrayal distinctive was her refusal to be weak or passive in her performance. In a memorable scene, she tells the stoic Wayne, "I'm hard to get, John T. You're going to have to say you want me." This dialogue exemplified her self-assured and confident demeanor, which was a recurring trait in the characters she portrayed throughout her career. One critic even described her characters as quasi-liberated, pre-women's liberation women, highlighting her strong and independent on-screen presence. Angie Dickinson's journey to Hollywood stardom began when Howard Hawks, the renowned director who had also discovered Lauren Bacall, noticed her. Hawks had seen her in an episode of the television series Perry Mason at the suggestion of his elegant wife, Slim Keith. When he chose Dickinson for the role, Slim expressed surprise, to which Hawks responded, "That's what I wanted you to say." Although not exactly a newcomer to the industry at the time, Angie had already appeared in 7 films and played the female lead in Sam Fuller's 1957 melodrama China Gate. In this role, she portrayed a Eurasian good-time girl, Lucky Legs, whose marriage to Gene Barry's character is disrupted by the birth of her Chinese baby. Angie Dickinson, at the age of 25, was stunning and exuded a remarkable level of confidence that bordered on bravado. Angie Dickinson's early life was rooted in the North Dakota prairie town of Kulm, which was predominantly settled by Germans. Later, her family moved to the even smaller town of Edgeley. She recalls her upbringing during the Great Depression, describing her hometown as smaller than small. Her parents were newspaper publishers who ran the Culm Messenger and the Edgeley Mail. Angie's father, Leo Henry Brown, was a talented writer with a unique sense of humor. He was a tall and handsome man who had dreams of playing the saxophone and becoming a veterinarian. However, he ended up becoming an alcoholic, which made life difficult at home. This experience may have contributed to Angie's drive and determination to never be stuck in a similar situation. She loved her father but despised the hardships that his alcoholism brought to their family. Angie Dickinson's formative years were shaped by the challenging circumstances of her upbringing in a small North Dakota town during a period of economic hardship. Her family's experiences, her father's unfulfilled dreams, and the impact of alcoholism had a profound influence on her determination to pursue a different path in life. Angie Dickinson's childhood unfolded during the challenging years of the Great Depression, and like many children with imagination and hope, she found solace and inspiration in the movies. During this time, she gravitated not toward the leading ladies of the era, such as Marlene Dietrich, Betty Grable, and Lana Turner, but rather, she identified with the male characters on screen. She vividly recalls a Humphrey Bogart movie where he played a reporter, which sparked her desire to become a reporter. Then, she saw him as a parachutist, and her ambition shifted to becoming a parachutist. Even a film like Keys to the Kingdom, in which Gregory Peck portrayed a priest, left an impression on her as she felt that female characters in movies didn't have the same opportunities for action and adventure as the male characters. Her yearning was to look like Dietrich, Grable, or Turner, but to do what the male characters did on screen. After World War II, Angie's parents moved the family to California, where her mother worked as a proofreader for the Burbank Review, showcasing her exceptional spelling skills. Her father, on the other hand, experienced instability in his employment. Angie attended Glendale College, and in 1952, she married Jean Dickinson, a prominent football star known for his good looks and a passion for electronics. However, their marriage ended in divorce in 1960, and Angie transitioned into the workforce as a secretary at an airplane factory. Angie's first brush with the entertainment industry came when she participated in a local preliminary for the Miss America contest and secured the second position. This achievement caught the attention of a casting agent who saw her potential. Subsequently, she landed a role as one of 6 long-stemmed showgirls on The Jimmy Durante Show. It was during her time on this television show that she crossed paths with the legendary Frank Sinatra, who was a guest star. This experience marked her first step onto a professional stage, as she had not even seen one before. The presence of icons like Frank Sinatra and Jimmy Durante left a profound impact on her, and she realized that this was the world she wanted to be a part of. This encounter with the entertainment industry set the stage for her future as an actress and marked the beginning of her remarkable career. Frank Sinatra played a pivotal role in Angie Dickinson's life, and she holds the belief that he was the most important man in her life due to the immense influence he had on her when she had the opportunity to meet him. In 1960, Dickinson portrayed Beatrice Ocean, the estranged wife of Sinatra's character, Danny Ocean, in the Las Vegas caper film Ocean's 11. By that time, she had become the gal pal of the Rat Pack, a close-knit group of entertainers, and was the only woman allowed into their inner circle. She was known for her prowess at poker and her ability to spin a bawdy yarn that could keep up with the men. Reflecting on her role as B. Ocean, Angie acknowledges that it was a relatively small part, too small for a star, but she considered herself fortunate to have secured it. In the film, she only had 2 scenes, both with Sinatra, but their chemistry on screen was palpable. Even today, when Angie watches the film, she's still enchanted by Sinatra's presence, exclaiming, "Look at that face!" Her admiration for him endures. Angie Dickinson and Frank Sinatra maintained a close friendship for many years, including a 10-year love affair. She describes their relationship as one of great comfort and desire, but not one of overwhelming necessity. According to her, it was a relationship where they both desired each other, but they could also live without each other. Sinatra would often park his dual Ghia car behind her house, and in the mornings, the garbage men would loiter around his car. Angie recalls this with a husky laugh, reminiscing about the unique and perfect moments they shared. In reflecting on their connection, Angie Dickinson shares her perspective that their relationship endured because it wasn't marked by an overpowering passion. Rather, their mutual respect and affection allowed their connection to persist. It was a bond built on the desire to be together rather than the need to be together, illustrating the depth of their unique relationship. Angie Dickinson's connection to Frank Sinatra extended to their shared involvement with the Kennedy family, particularly during the 1960 Democratic Convention in Los Angeles. Sinatra played a key role in introducing her to the Kennedys. A significant moment was a large party hosted by JFK's sister, Pat Kennedy, and her husband, Peter Lawford, at their beachfront home in Santa Monica, just before the convention. The event was attended by the future president, Joe Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Eunice Kennedy, Pat Kennedy, and, of course, Frank Sinatra. Dickinson and the other attendees were enthusiastic about supporting John F. Kennedy's campaign, which is why she received an invitation to the presidential inauguration. The whole period was electrifying for her, and she believes her role in Ocean's 11 contributed to her warm welcome into the Kennedy circle, as she had portrayed Frank's wife in the film. Sinatra even sent a pre-release copy of the movie to the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport. During the campaign, Dickinson and others embarked on a whirlwind tour of 7 states, picking up athletes like baseball stars, Stan Musial, and Ernie Banks along the way. While none of those 7 states ultimately broke for Kennedy, Dickinson felt that their efforts had helped reduce the margin. Angie Dickinson's memories of the inauguration are somewhat bittersweet. She missed the inaugural parade due to the time-consuming task of preparing her hair for the ball that evening, lamenting the absence of hot curlers in those days. The night before the inauguration, Sinatra hosted a gala at the National Guard Armory, featuring stars like Jimmy Durante, Gene Kelly, Shirley MacLaine, and Ella Fitzgerald. Later, the president-elect attended a late-night dinner hosted by his father, Joseph P. Kennedy, at Paul Young's restaurant. One of the guests at that dinner was Paul Red Fay Jr., a friend of Kennedy's who had served alongside him in World War II and would soon become Undersecretary of the Navy. Fay's 1966 memoir, The Pleasure of His Company, mentioned an evening in which he was assigned to escort Dickinson on a date arranged by Ethel Kennedy. The evening's events fueled rumors about a potential affair between Angie and JFK. Despite the persistent rumors, Angie Dickinson remains unhappy when discussing Fay's book and its revelations about her. She feels it was too personal and expresses her displeasure at the mention of it. The rumor of an affair with JFK has become an enduring annoyance, and she emphasizes that she had no intention of letting the manuscript, which contained details of her supposed affair with the president, go public. In fact, she withdrew the manuscript after completing over 100 pages. Angie is resigned to the idea that people may not believe her if she denies the affair, but she underscores that it's time for everyone to mature in their perspective on the Kennedys. She believes that the focus should be on what the country lost during that period. The tragic assassination of President Kennedy occurred during the making of The Killers, a film in which she worked alongside future President Ronald Reagan. David Thompson praises Angie Dickinson for never publicly discussing or exploiting the rumored affair with Kennedy, thereby upholding the dignity of the presidency. Sinatra had often described her as a lady who's a gentleman, appreciating her discretion and grace in handling the persistent speculation about her relationship with JFK. Throughout the late 1990s, Angie Dickinson expressed her support for President Bill Clinton during his impeachment over the Monica Lewinsky scandal. She defended him, stating that the impeachment was a terrible ordeal. She believed that Clinton had accomplished many great things for the country, and when his detractors couldn't find any legitimate faults, they resorted to targeting his personal life and relationships, particularly focusing on the Lewinsky affair. She had the opportunity to meet President Clinton at a Democratic fundraiser hosted by film mogul Lew Wasserman. During the encounter, Angie was standing next to actress Suzanne Pleshette on the receiving line. As Clinton approached, she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed, exclaiming to her companion, "My God, I'm beginning to sweat." Clinton appeared larger than life and incredibly handsome, leaving a strong impression. When they met, Clinton remarked, "At last," suggesting he may have been aware of her long-standing connection to the Kennedys and her support for Democratic causes. Angie had once famously quipped, "I have never knowingly dated a Republican," indicating her strong political affiliations. In the 1960s, Angie Dickinson took on significant roles in various films, but the star-making role she longed for eluded her. Her parts, while good, often didn't provide her with ample screen time. After her role in The Killers, she accepted a small part as the sheriff's wife in Arthur Penn's 1966 film, The Chase. What drew her to this project was the opportunity to work alongside Marlon Brando, an acting legend. The film featured an ensemble cast, including James Fox, Robert Duvall, E.G. Marshall, Jane Fonda, and an out-of-place Robert Redford, each seemingly acting in their own movie. However, only Brando and Dickinson managed to deliver genuine and confident performances. Angie Dickinson reflects on her experience working with Brando, describing the complex dynamics on set. The director, screenwriter, and Brando all had differing ideas about the film, leading to a somewhat chaotic atmosphere. Despite these challenges, Dickinson felt in awe of Brando and valued the way he made her feel like part of the group. He didn't ad-lib simply to be clever, but did so to enhance the scene, aiming to make her comfortable and part of the process. She observed his mastery as an actor, where it appeared as if there were no cameras around, and he radiated both greatness and an ease that made everyone comfortable. While they would sit in his trailer and engage in conversations, Brando would often tease her, all in an effort to make her feel less intimidated and better able to work with him. However, she also noted that off-camera, Brando enjoyed making people squirm, which was a facet of his personality. In 1967, Angie Dickinson starred in the noir film Point Blank, directed by John Boorman. The movie featured her alongside Lee Marvin, who had previously played one of the relentless hitmen in The Killers. Point Blank tells the story of a man double-crossed by the mob who obsessively tries to recover a stolen fortune. Dickinson's character has a steamy sex scene with the film's villain, John Vernon. However, what stands out most from the film is a memorable scene in which she pummels Lee Marvin's character, who adamantly refuses to give up his search for the stolen money. In the scene, Angie Dickinson relentlessly beats Marvin's chest with her fists, exceeding the audience's expectations until she ultimately collapses on the floor. To add to the intensity, she then strikes him with a pool cue, which opens a gash on his face. John Boorman, the director of Point Blank, recalls that Angie Dickinson approached the scene with enthusiasm, perhaps taking revenge on Lee Marvin for an incident on the set of The Killers, where he held her upside down out of a window. Their relationship was not very amicable, and she felt uneasy with the terrifying character Marvin was playing. Dickinson's commitment to the scene resulted in Marvin being covered in bruises the following day. Despite the initial unease, Boorman believes that Dickinson eventually developed an affection for Marvin, Boorman also praised his photography of Angie Dickinson in the film, particularly noting that she was among the first to wear a miniskirt in America. He recalls that she had the legs for it, which was confirmed by her receiving the Golden Garter Award for Hollywood's Greatest Gams in 1962. Furthermore, she was voted the actress with the most beautiful legs in Hollywood by the L.A. County Podiatry Association in 1981. After her roles in The Killers and Point Blank, there was a period where the significant roles Angie Dickinson had hoped for did not come her way. The reasons for this are unclear, and it remains a matter of luck and opportunity in the entertainment industry. Bruce Wagner suggests that while Dickinson is an iconic figure, she might not have landed the roles that could have catapulted her to greater stardom. Instead, roles in prominent films went to younger actresses like Jane Fonda, Mia Farrow, Julie Christie, and Faye Dunaway, who secured parts in movies like Clute, Rosemary's Baby, Dr. Zhivago, and Bonnie and Clyde. At a certain point in her career, Angie Dickinson contemplated moving to Paris, where her roles in The Killers and Point Blank had already granted her star status. However, she started studying French, but ultimately decided to remain in Los Angeles. In 1964, Angie Dickinson's career had cooled down when she met and began a relationship with Burt Bacharach, the famous composer and songwriter. At the time, Bacharach's career was on the rise, reaching new heights. They decided to get married on May 5, 1965, at the Silver Bell Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas. The ceremony was attended by notable figures, including David Nelson, Ricky Nelson's older brother, and Charles K. Feldman, a prominent Hollywood producer and agent. Shortly after their wedding, Burt Bacharach was presented with an opportunity to score his first film, What's New, Pussycat? The film's title song, performed by Tom Jones, became a massive hit. During this period, Bacharach composed a string of successful songs for artists like Dionne Warwick, who sang hits such as Walk On By and Do You Know the Way to San Jose. Other notable songs included Dusty Springfield's The Look of Love and Jackie DeShannon's What the World Needs Now. Their collaboration was highly successful, culminating in an Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1970 for Raindrops Keep Fallin' on My Head, featured in the film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. During this time, Angie Dickinson and Burt Bacharach became one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples. With her striking pale blonde hair and his string of gold records, they radiated charisma. Bruce Wagner recalls that they were one of the hottest couples in Hollywood during that era. However, Angie Dickinson noticed a shift in the power dynamics within their relationship on the night of the Academy Awards, where Raindrops Keep Fallin' on My Head was celebrated. The song, along with its talented composer, received enthusiastic applause from the audience, and photographers swarmed around Burt Bacharach, almost knocking her over in their rush to capture his image. In 1966, Angie Dickinson and Burt Bacharach became parents when their daughter, Leah Nikki, was born. However, Nikki's birth was fraught with difficulties as she arrived 3 months prematurely and weighed just under 29 ounces. The nurses at the hospital named her because nobody believed she would survive, and both mother and child barely made it through this challenging ordeal. Nikki's premature birth would have long-term consequences for her health and well-being. Despite the challenges of her personal life, Angie Dickinson continued to work in the film industry, taking on small roles in westerns like Sam Whiskey, alongside Burt Reynolds, and Young Billy Young, featuring Robert Mitchum. In 1974, she appeared in the lighthearted Roger Corman film Big Bad Mama, which she describes as a Bonnie and Clyde ripoff, co-starring with Tom Skerritt and William Shatner. The film included a number of incredibly sexy love scenes with her leading men, and her nudity at the age of 43 was highly praised. Angie Dickinson's marriage to Burt Bacharach lasted for 15 years, but it faced significant challenges. The premature birth of their daughter, Nikki, was one factor that strained their relationship. Angie later felt that she had been overprotective of Nicky, which had a detrimental impact on their marriage. Reflecting on their relationship, she admitted that they never should have married and should have maintained a romantic, loving connection instead. When she was offered a role in a new television cop show titled Policewoman, Angie Dickinson consulted with Bacharach about whether she should accept it, and he encouraged her to do so. Policewoman became a massive hit and marked one of the first successful crime dramas in television history to feature a female lead. However, Angie Dickinson acknowledges that the success of the show took a toll on her marriage to Bacharach. After the failure of the film Lost Horizon in 1973, for which Bacharach composed the music, his career faced difficulties while Angie Dickinson's career soared. The demanding schedule of Policewoman, which required 12-hour days on location 6 days a week, created additional strain in their relationship. Bacharach's discomfort with her extended absences and his preference for going out at night, especially as a New Yorker accustomed to nightlife, further contributed to their marital difficulties. Angie Dickinson was disappointed when Bacharach declined to compose the theme music for Policewoman because he did not anticipate it becoming a hit. However, he did create Nikkis Theme, a piece for their daughter, for an ABC Movie of the Week. Angie Dickinson has always been fiercely protective of her time and privacy. She has had to cope with the profound heartbreak stemming from the tragic suicide of her daughter, Nicky Bacharach, which occurred on January 4, 2007. Nicky, who was 40 years old at the time of her death, was known to have Asperger's syndrome, a neurobiological disorder characterized by certain key features. Asperger's syndrome, though first described in 1944 by Viennese doctor Hans Asperger, didn't gain widespread recognition until the mid-1990s. It is typically characterized by normal or even high intelligence, deficiencies in social skills due to difficulties in reading nonverbal cues, literal-mindedness, resistance to changes in routine, and a tendency to become intensely focused or obsessed with particular interests. Individuals with Asperger's also often exhibit extreme sensitivity to noise, which was a significant challenge for Nicky. She was tormented by the constant sound of helicopters flying over Los Angeles and complained about the disturbing noise. Angie Dickinson and her family tried various ways to help Nicky cope with the noise, including playing music and turning up the volume when helicopters were overhead. Angie even contemplated selling her beautiful home in Coldwater Canyon in search of a quieter environment. Many experts consider Asperger's to be a high-functioning form of autism. While individuals with Asperger's can lead successful lives, Nicky faced additional challenges due to diminishing eyesight, a result of her premature birth. However, Nicky's most traumatic experience was her hospitalization when she was 14 years old, a time when her Asperger's syndrome had not yet been identified. Hospitalization is not a recommended treatment for the disorder, but Nicky held her father, Burt Bacharach, responsible for her 10 years of institutionalization. Angie Dickinson emphasizes that Burt, her former husband, had a strained relationship with Nicky as he found her condition too challenging to manage. He believed that Nicky needed to be separated from her mother's indulgence, not realizing that she had a real medical condition. Unfortunately, Nicky's time in the hospital only exacerbated her difficulties. Angie acknowledges that Burt later regretted his decision, saying, "I'm terribly sorry. Had I known, I never would have done that." Nevertheless, the damage was done, and Nicky couldn't easily forgive her father, as holding on to emotions and ideas is a common aspect of Asperger's. Despite Bert's repeated attempts to reconnect with Nicky, she couldn't let go of her resentment. Her inflexibility and inability to forgive were characteristics of her syndrome. Nicky often struggled to move past her emotional wounds, and Angie reflects on a moment when they were brainstorming book titles, and Nicky suggested the poignant title, "I've Never Healed from Anything." It was a testament to the syndrome's enduring impact. Nicky had her own apartment in Los Angeles, but spent significant time living with her mother. They shared moments of bonding by skinny dipping in their pool, watching DVDs at home, and attending screenings at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Just like her mother, Nikkis was passionate about movies and had a deep appreciation for Angie Dickinson's career, often reciting lines from her favorite film, Big Bad Mama. What do you think about Angie Dickinson's life and relationships with the men around her? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.